It started after the birth of our second child. Nothing dramatic at first, just prescription pills. A painkiller here, a sleeping aid there. Doctors said it was postpartum stress, maybe anxiety. I believed them. I trusted her. After all, she was the mother of my children. But slowly, quietly, she became someone else. The woman I married was gone. In her place was someone whose eyes were always glazed over, whose emotions were a roller coaster, and whose promises were as fragile as glass. She started mixing narcotics, muscle relaxers, mood stabilizers, like she was creating her own cocktail of destruction. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't supporting her enough. Maybe I was too focused on work, on paying bills, on being the provider. But soon, her addiction was undeniable. She stopped showing up as a wife. She stopped showing up as a mother. And worst of all, she refused to see it. What followed were years of chaos. Rehab stints, therapists, 12-step meetings, family interventions. She'd swear she was done, then relapse within weeks, sometimes days. Each time, she'd look me in the eye with tears and say, "I'm sorry. This is the last time." But it never was. There were car crashes, a DUI, our credit cards maxed out. She drained our savings. We filed for bankruptcy. I was left trying to hold everything together, the house, the kids, my sanity. The stress nearly broke me. Still, I stayed, because I thought love meant standing by someone, even when they were at their worst. But then she brought our children into the fire. It was a Thursday. I'll never forget it. She had picked up the kids from school, high out of her mind. She ran a red light and T-boned a car. The kids were in the back seat. By some miracle, no one was seriously injured. When I got the call, something in me just snapped. This wasn't a bad marriage anymore. This was a disaster zone, and I had to get my children out before she took all of us down with her. That night, I called my lawyer. I told him I wanted out. No more therapy, no more second chances. I wanted a divorce. She didn't take it well. She claimed I was abandoning her. She threatened to take the kids, the house, everything. Said she'd make me pay for doing this to her. When mediation started, she came in guns blazing, demanded full custody, wanted back pay and future alimony. Said I owed her for ruining her life. She showed up to court with an air of entitlement, still high on something, wearing sunglasses indoors like a cliché. I was scared the court would buy her act, but the judge saw right through it. I presented everything, the rehab records, the crash reports, the medical files, the receipts, the witness accounts. I showed the court what she really was, and they listened. The judge ruled hard. No alimony, no full custody. He gave me 50-50 custody, told her to get a job, and let me keep the house and the car. She got half of my $401,000, but that was it. It was the first time in years I felt peace. I remember walking out of that courtroom feeling like I had just escaped a burning building. Not without scars, but alive. It's been a few years now. I live modestly, like I always have. I've saved what I could. I'm remarried now, to a woman who is kind, supportive, and most importantly, sober. The kids are doing great. We take trips. We laugh. We have normal days again. Meanwhile, my ex spiraled. She got remarried less than 2 years after our divorce. And divorced again 6 months later. She's flat broke. Living with her parents. Still on pills. Still the same cycle. Still refusing to change. I thought the worst was over after the divorce. I thought I had escaped. I was wrong. I had been fighting for years. For my kids, my finances, my sanity. I had been drained, bruised, but somehow, I had survived. I had rebuilt my life. The kids were happy. I was finally breathing again. But addiction doesn't care about court orders. It doesn't care about second chances. And it certainly doesn't care about the damage left behind. I had no idea that even after winning my freedom, my ex-wife would still find a way to drag us back into her chaos. It had been almost 2 years since the divorce. I hadn't heard much from my ex beyond the usual custody exchanges. She was living with her parents, barely scraping by. She had no job, no stability, and from what little I heard, she was still using. Then one night, my phone rang. It was her mother. "She's not doing well," she said. "She's saying she wants to see you." At first, I felt nothing. I had built a wall between me and that part of my life. I had protected myself, shielded my kids from her spiral. But there was something in her mother's voice, something I hadn't heard before. Fear. I hesitated. Then I made the mistake of asking, "What happened?" She had been evicted from her parents' house. She had blown through what little money she had left, borrowing, stealing, lying her way into deeper trouble. The pills weren't enough anymore. She had moved on to harder stuff. Her second marriage had lasted 6 months before her new husband realized what I had learned too late. She was a black hole that swallowed everything in her path. Now, she was couch surfing, losing weight, losing time, losing herself. Her mother begged me to come talk to her. Maybe, she thought, I could save her. I told her the truth, I can't. I already tried. But despite everything, a part of me, a stupid, naive, buried part of me, still remembered the woman I had fallen in love with. Not the addict, not the liar, but the person she had once been. And so, against my better judgment, I agreed. I met her at a diner. She was already there, sitting in the corner, looking hollow. Her eyes darted around like she was expecting someone to be watching. Her fingers twitched. She looked so small, so brittle. But the worst part? She smiled like nothing had ever happened. You look good, she said, sipping a coffee that she probably couldn't afford. Guess you're doing okay without me. I didn't respond. I couldn't. She was talking like we were old friends, like she hadn't spent years destroying everything we had built, like she hadn't nearly killed our kids. Then, she leaned in. I need your help. I should have known. Of course, she wasn't here to apologize. She wasn't here to make amends. She wanted money, not for food, not for shelter, but for one last chance, a new rehab, a new program, something that she swore was going to work this time. I just need a little to get back on my feet, she pleaded. For the kids. She always used them like a shield, a bargaining chip, as if she hadn't thrown away every chance to be their mother. I looked at her one last time, and for the first time, I saw her for what she really was. Not my ex-wife, not the mother of my children, just an addict. I stood up, left enough cash to cover the bill, and walked out without another word. That was the last time I ever saw her. Years have passed since that night. I don't know where she is now. Maybe she's still out there, still chasing the next high. Maybe she finally hit rock bottom and dug her way out. I don't know, and I don't care. I spent too many years trying to save someone who didn't want to be saved. Too many nights wondering if I could have done more. But I've made peace with the truth. Some people don't want help. They want a bailout. They don't want to change. They want you to suffer